What's up, traders? We are back with another video from bitcoinbikini.com. Check out this trade I'm doing. So I'm using my demo account, trading ETH USDT. Why am I using my demo account? Because market conditions right now are just not clear. So I am testing out my indicator, and I'm also just getting warmed up and also just analyzing the market and how it reacts to some of my ideas. So let's take a look at this idea here. So I went long Ethereum based off the thesis that it's breaking out of this range here. Let me get my pointer. So there's like a range here that we've been in, and there's a potential now that we've bottomed and we're going to break out and start going up and breaking out again. And then seasonally too, we should see, typically during Q4, it's a bullish agenda. It doesn't mean that you can rely on that completely. You can't use that, like it's too much of a macro thesis to make small intraday trades, because let's say you have a bullish regime, you can still within a bullish regime or a bullish season, like what do I mean by that? Like if you have a multi-month bullish trend, you can still within that multi-month bullish trend have very, very significant volatility and drawdown. So you can't apply a macro thesis to micro trades. You have to be balancing all time frames at the same time, especially if you're holding. This works really well when you're holding different assets. So for example, some people will hold a certain percentage of their capital in just long-term spot assets that they don't touch. And I really like that approach. And then they reserve another percentage of their capital to take more short-term risk with and play the moves of the market on a more weekly structure or even like a daily structure. So it's like you segregate your army, as I always talk about, and I got this from GCR. I'm not that original. So he said that your capital, all your money that you put into trading and investing, it's your army, and you're the general, and you have to protect that army at all costs. You can never send out the whole army into one battle, because there's a risk that your whole army will be wiped out and you'll have no more soldiers to go to the next battle and win the war. Remember, we want to win the war. We can lose individual battles. We can get stopped out, for example, but as long as we protect our army, we'll be okay to fight another day. So let's go back to this trade and go to the logic of what I did. So every time you open a trade, you need to have certain pieces to put together. You're putting together the pieces of a puzzle. So we discussed the entry and we discussed the direction. So we entered in this breakout area here, and we are long. So we are hoping that it goes up to here. And then we set our take profit fairly conservative at 1R. And what's really nice on Clio, it has these automatic things where you can set the profit without having to think about it. Let me look over here. So it lets you pick when it won't let me do it now because I already have it set, but you can set like 1R, 2R, whatever you want, or you can add it, you can set it up manually as well. And then as far as the stop loss, the reason I put the stop loss at 3,900 was because I want to keep it fairly tight since I don't trust the markets right now. And I think that we could still see more downside volatility easily before going back up. So we should set the stop loss fairly conservative. And I set it here where instead of setting it up here where there's a wick, I don't really trust that because wicks aren't valuable information. They are important, but they're not as valuable to me as the candle bodies. That's where really the more thick price information would be. So I set it here, right around 3,900, just in this cluster here. in case it goes back down there, I want to leave this trade because it's not a high confidence move. I'm experimenting here. So that's this trade. Let me know what you're currently doing, what kind of setups you're looking at. I want to learn from everybody here that's watching the videos as well as everyone in the community. So let me know what you're looking at. Do you agree with my idea? And do you have any advice that you want to share that can help people learn to trade better? See you in the next video.